I wanted to follow up on the chairman's question. Mr. Kendall, Ms. Hsu, what happens to the defense industrial base, particularly our second, third, and fourth tier suppliers if sequestration happens?
Senator McCain mentioned sequestration also. Let me, in a word, it would be devastating. Sequestration, we've already taken $50 billion a year roughly out of the defense budget. So we had to take roughly another $50 billion. That's $100 billion a year out of the budget. A lot of that would fall onto industry. There's a provision under the Budget Control Act which would allow the President to exempt military personnel, and there's a good chance that he would do that because that would be a devastating impact on our people. So that would increase the burden that would fall on the investment accounts, R&D and production, and it would be fairly deep cuts. They would also have to be applied very indiscriminately. We wouldn't be allowed to prioritize, and they would fall on unobligated balances, so we would have devastating impact. A lot of the work that we've done over the last couple of years to try to make more efficient acquisition decisions and get better contract structures would be broken. The tanker, for example, which the Air Force went through a very laborious and difficult process to get under contract on a sound acquisition strategy, we would break that fixed price contract. The total
so you're talking about the KC-46A?
Yes.
Yeah, would jeopardize that contract.
We would jeopardize that contract. We would jeopardize a number of contracts where we would have to take cuts that would break the contract from our side, and then we'd have to go renegotiate. Right. So you're essentially opening it up, and you have to go get another price. And once we're in a situation, we did a competition, for example, for the tanker. So that was very effective in getting the price down. Once you don't have a competitive environment, it's much more difficult for us to negotiate a lower price. The Littoral Combat Ship is another one where we have good prices out over the next few years. We would break that deal as well. So there, across the department, there are places where devastating impact would occur. And of course, that ripples down through all tiers of the industrial base. So industry is already very concerned about this. Some of the major firms have approached me about their concerns about having to provide notice of potential layoffs because there's a provision in the law that requires them to do that. Just in pending sequestration. So it's been described by various people in various ways. Secretary Lynn talked about sequestration as being something that was so crazy, that was intended to be so crazy that nobody would ever do it. And the people have done a very good job of making it that crazy.
So crazy that nobody would ever do it.
So crazy nobody would do it, and they did a really good job of that. My boss, Secretary Panetta, who is sometimes very frank in his language, has called it, I think, goofy and a meat-axe approach. And in private conversations, he's used much stronger language than that. Sequestration.
Probably not good for this room, but.
I will refrain from that. But sequestration, in a word, would be devastating to the department.
Thank you. Ms. Hsu?
Senator, I absolutely concur. If sequestration occurs, it would absolutely have a devastating impact on our modernization. The bulk of the Army's budget is in the manning area, and that is not going to go down quickly. So the modernization account, namely the procurement account, our research and development accounts, which impacts our primes, our second, third, fourth tier companies are going to be significantly impacted. Everything we have judiciously worked last year to identify affordability, cost savings, cost avoidances will be gone.
So just to be clear, so everyone understands and those that are watching this hearing, when we're talking about particularly second, third, and fourth tier suppliers, sometimes when those businesses go away, they don't come back. We're talking about small businesses that if they are put out of business by sequestration, then it's difficult often to bring that capability back. That's why we're concerned about our defense industrial base. And those are real jobs in this country, aren't there? At stake.
That's correct. There would be hundreds of thousands of jobs impacted by it.
I appreciate that.